Would you like to become a fan of Crimson Smp but don't want to watch the hour-long videos? Well, this video is for you. Here's the last 3 episodes on my channel, recapped. Episode 1. Welcome to New Oakhurst. This is Ivy. She's from the capital and she's looking for Oakhurst. While wandering, she wanders off the path and stumbles upon a castle? What is that? Moving on, she wanders directly away from the castle and finds a town. And finds a group of people. Huh. You know the castle I mentioned earlier? Yeah, that one. Well, Ivy has informed this group of people about the castle, and they agreed to follow her as soon as sunrise. Hey look! Sunrise! So as soon as the group was ready, they all followed Ivy towards the castle. Quite trusting for someone they just met, but nothing bad happened, even though they told Ivy multiple times that this is horror movie-esque type stuff. Oh look, they made it. They willingly crossed the bridge as 2 of the group mentioned that it looks like something from where they came from. Weird. In the middle of this dining room looking place, there was a beacon. A red beacon. It felt weird, but it looked like they could change it if they crouched. So they'll continue crouching, right? No, wrong. They found a hole in the floor with staircases, like a staircase leading down to it. And without questioning it, as this group usually does, they went down. And so did Ivy. Down in the bottom of this crypt-looking thing, there was a bunch of hallways with heads that Ivy wasn't aware of at all. They weren't in the crypt long, and after a while, Ivy came back up and started crouching near the beacon thing again. Of course, the group followed suit a bit later, but in the end, they were able to change it to a normal looking color that didn't represent evil. After a long walk from the castle back to town, Ivy settled on a plot of land that she would like to make her temporary home for a bit, as they are stuck here. When the group was able to all make it back to town safe and sound, they stood in a circle. Again, they're a really big fan of those, and they continued a discussion of those who came from Oakhurst. This isn't Oakhurst, by the way, it's New Oakhurst. So the group talked about those from Oakhurst, some ringing a bell, some not. But after a while, the group got bigger, as everyone wandered back into town. After the group split off to go wander away and get wood and build their houses, Ivy was able to write her letter to her girlfriend, basically explaining that she is safe in New Oakhurst and all the things that happened that day. Episode 2. Something's wrong in New Oakhurst. Ivy has an unwilling talk with her conscience. What a horrible dream to have. She should stay in town and talk to someone about it. Oh wait, she's not gonna do that. Ivy avoids human interaction again for the second episode and wanders away from New Oakhurst. She finds this new place though. While wandering over a hill, she finds what looks like a lake with a tower in the middle. The beacon is red, so of course she takes it upon herself to go and change it. But halfway through changing it, she passes out. A new occurrence, it seems. She thinks it's the area, so she runs back to New Oakhurst, home sweet home, and makes a new axe as her other one broke the other day. While making a new axe, she feels something very strange. Good though. After that weird occurrence, she steps outside and finds the purple hair guy. Nev, I think his name was. They talk for a little bit about all the strange occurrences in Oakhurst, like the beacons and that weird feeling 2 seconds ago, and the weird barrier blocking them all here. After that talk with Nev, Ivy decides she should probably go down into the mines and get more materials as she's lacking. While down in the mines though, she feels something strange. Like a pushback between whatever good feeling there was earlier. After that message, Ivy did not want to be in the mines by herself, so she ran back up and stumbled upon Avril and Miro. The first time she's really seeing those two for the first time this episode. They talk about the strangeness of others in the town and what that feeling was that Ivy felt down in the mine. Ivy doesn't know what's going on. The two rule Ivy off from whatever that feeling was and ran away. Though a knock at the door was heard. It was Ray. Ray gave Ivy this weird book. You're next? What is that supposed to mean? Ivy overthought the book for 5 minutes or so, very confused on what that book means and how that has any relation to Ivy at all. She was so confused. What's happening in this town? No time to dwell on it though. It's everyone's favourite time. New Oakhursters standing in a circle. Ivy was not having a fun time during this conversation, catching stray after stray after stray. It all seemed to be about Ivy's oblivious attitude to things and how her life at the capital could directly relate to that. She even got given a glorified map so that she would never lose her way. How ironic is this whole conversation? God. Moving on again. Ivy was able to talk to Avril, one of the only people it seemed understood the sanity of this town. They talked to her a bit about how everyone in this town was honestly crazy. Like, some of the claims being made were really outrageous, like vampires and vampires. And Nev came over and agreed with the two, which maybe Ivy wasn't the only sane one in this town. Thank God. Of course, Ivy's health hasn't been the best, and she passed out halfway through the conversation. A beacon turned and Avril ran off, so Nev and Ivy ran after. Spoiler alert, there was no one at the beacon, and new Oakhursters did what they did best. Stood in a circle. We really loved doing that. We talked about how there was no one at the beacon, with Novo added to the conversation, as she wondered, "Bye, just as we came back." What a odd timing coincidence. After a while, new Oakhursters do get bored of standing in a circle, so we run back to town, and Ivy was able to write her most recent letter to Dawn, again explaining all the weird coincidences of that day. New Oakhurst is weird, and Ivy expresses that in her letter to Dawn. Hopefully, next episode will be a lot more calm. Episode 3. Am I crazy? 4 words. Ivy is losing it. She can't decipher what's reality and what's fiction anymore. She's even starting to believe in vampires. No, sorry, that's ridiculous. Vampires don't exist. Dawn's letter comes earlier in this episode, as Ivy believes that by the end of the episode she would have completely lost it. Not enough to write a letter to Dawn, and she expresses that in the letter, though she says that she'll continue to think about Dawn despite the mental state she's currently in. Anyway, enough on Ivy's mental state. She's just gonna go outside and talk to some people. Well, there are people over there. Have Ray's eyes change color? Yeah, never mind. They'll probably leave town soon enough anyway, because no one really likes to stick around for that long. Anyway. Despite the lack of people in town, Ivy stumbles upon Lulu, which she hasn't seen in a while, and Avril wanders into the conversation as well, though the conversation's not really about much. It's just about skulls as a fashion choice, and that's about it, honestly. That broadcast might have been boring, but I have everyone's favourite broadcast. New Oakhurst is standing in a circle, which we do a lot. It seems to be our favourite thing to do, as I've mentioned before. This conversation wasn't out of the ordinary either. It was just about how Miro is scarily armed, and how Ray wants to make cakes. Ivy would like some cakes, she thinks. Well, Ray is really set on this cake idea, so everyone spreads off to go find ingredients, mainly just Ray, and Mira goes to find Gravel, and Ivy and Avril get to talking again. Ivy trusts Avril the most out of everyone in this town. They just seem the most trustworthy. Like, they're not hiding a big secret like everyone else is, it seems. As Avril, Al, and Ivy are the only ones left in town, Al gives a house tour to Avril and Ivy. The house is very nice for 3 people who live in it, but all things must come to an end as a beacon was turned. Shock, wow. Avril, of course, wants to go after it because that's kind of what they do, and Ivy, not wanting to leave them alone to do that, follows suit, and so does Al, making it one adventure, I suppose. Every time we go to the castle, there is never anyone there, but this time there stood Nev and Novo, which is weird. How'd they get to the castle so fast? We ran almost immediately. I wonder. Ivy asked if they saw anyone, and they said no, so she moved on. We found out, by the way, they were lagging behind. But quite a weird group to have at the castle. Oh, hey Lulu. Eventually set over the castle, as it does, and the group decided to wander back. And not much conversation was had, really. Though, look, Ivy's included in a group situation and not off by herself this episode. Aren't we all excited? Everyone in this group was, I can tell you that much. Novo shares a joke, and it was really stupid. Ivy tried to not to laugh at it, but then a comment came out of Lulu's mouth. Quite strange.
Novo, you're great. You're great. I hope you keep your hair forever.
I hope you keep your hair forever, is what she said. And oh, look, new ochre standing in another circle. But this is warranted because what was that comment? Everyone's confused. It's not just Ivy, I promise you. I suppose no need to dwell on that comment because Raya's cakes. They actually made cakes. They found sugarcane and they made cakes. We're all very excited, and this looks like a circle is forming. Damn it. Cakes are a really fun thing to eat. Anyway, friendship adventure is what we go on next. Novo kind of left Lulu for Nev, so to cheer Lulu up, we're going on a friendship adventure, and Ivy turns that into a way to see the crypt for the first time because she keeps hearing about this crypt, but she's never actually seen it. So they go and see it. And of course, like every other beacon in this whole place, it's red. So me and Avril, and it looks like Miro, puts in the effort to change it, but beacons take a long time to turn back, so it took a while, but we got there in the end. With the beacon all turned back, Miro suggested we go look at tombs. What we didn't realize were there were 2 tombs in the crypt area. Me and Lulu split off to one, Mira and Avril went to another, and Al was just lost entirely. Good bonding session, I suppose. Lulu asks a bunch of questions about Dawn and how Dawn's like and what she is like as a person. And oh, look, is that Miro? I suppose all friendship adventures must come to an end eventually, but look, Miro knows how to do fire, so it's okay. Do you remember the book, the quote unquote threat that Ray gave to Ivy? Yeah, that one. Well, Ivy turned it into something good. Notes. A book of notes on each of the people in New Oakhurst, on what Ivy thinks of them through conversations and things she's heard from other people. Obviously, she's talked to some people more than she's talked to others, aka she's talked to Avril more than she's talked to Miro, but it's great to have notes on everybody in town, even if you can make it out of a threat that someone gives to you. Obviously, Ivy has a lot of information on Avril, because Ivy trusts Avril the most out of anyone in this town, through Avril agreeing that everyone is literally insane, and Ivy trusts them the most. But, she doesn't have a lot of information on Novo, because Novo's always been with Nev, and secretly Ivy doesn't like Nev. Shh, don't tell the purple hair guy. Anyway, so, yeah. Nothing really out of the ordinary happened for the rest of the day. Ivy tried to talk to more people in group settings rather than one-on-one, because Ivy kind of gets stuck when talking to people one-on-one. Nothing else really happened that she remembers other than sudden rain while she was watching Miro build the tavern that's getting built. And she was listening to Nev and Al's conversation. And then Al said something weird.
And I don't think Avril will be an issue to you.
What do you mean?
Nothing. By the way.
Ivy was standing right there. Did they not see her? She's gonna go think about this. I need to talk to Avril.